Whenever the train is ready to pull into the station in Nanjing, or the plane is ready to land on the Nanjing airport, I feel that I'm coming home. It's a combination of reasons. Friends here, the church here, and the work with colleagues. But I'm now coming home to one that's in much greater difficulty than before when I first began my work. For the last 4 years, I've been working as the overseas coordinator of the Amity Foundation, traveling regularly back and forth between Hong Kong and Nanjing and other parts of China. The Amity Foundation is a Christian-initiated social service organization for the promotion of health, education, and welfare in the People's Republic of China. Our relationships with China will have to continue, but with a much clearer understanding of the obstacles that now stand in the way of openness, modernization, democratization, and reform. By working as a non-governmental organization, in China it's called a people's organization, we feel that we still have a role to play in working directly with people and in helping to promote the kind of relationships that we in the Amity Foundation started with 4 years ago. The Amity Foundation was initiated by Chinese Christians, but not as part of the church institution. Through Amity, they're able to work in society in ways they wouldn't be able to do if they were establishing church organizations, but it's an organization which helps to support the work and the witness of the Christian church. I'm involved in the various Amity programs ranging from education to social service to the printing of Bibles. The Amity Teachers Program welcomes teachers from all parts of the world to come mainly as language teachers and to work in Chinese institutions of higher learning.
I teach middle school students from grades 9, 11, 12. It's a special school for kids who will be majoring in English, future business leaders or political leaders.
Did you read the English part of the Chinese translation? Most English, yeah. I'm not surprised.
Before the demonstrations, my students were very hopeful. They were going to a special school, the best and the brightest. They knew that they'd probably get into university and have good job prospects. And they had a basic faith in the government that they may not have agreed with everything, but they thought things were improving, and there was a trust that was completely shattered on June 4th and after. They were not living in a secure future anymore. Some of the students were sobbing quietly at their desks or with red eyes. It was just as if everything crumbled, all their youthful idealism. Immediately after those events, when I was so shocked and so upset, I just thanked God that I had some place to turn to God. And I think a lot of other Christians, Chinese and foreign, felt that way. Thank God we have each other. You could go into the church and sob a little bit and find someone whom you didn't know who would hug you, you know, that sort of thing. The Chinese have a real idea of suffering and rejuvenation. My faith has been increased by my being here and my contacts with the Chinese church.
Peter Ashmore is one of our teachers who comes to us from the Presbyterian Church, U.S.A. He's working in the local College of Food Economics.
You can buy soda For example, you could buy soda in a vending machine. You could
Working in China in the situation where the future is so uncertain is really an electrifying experience. Now there's an added sense of urgency that the Chinese themselves need to have something to hang on to. There is hope. And this is what I see my work is turning into. It's not simply teaching English as a foreign language, but it's teaching more about values, about what I believe in, about what do Christians do, about real peace and friendship.
We want to welcome him back to our fold. He has been in China under the Amity International program.
I ask for your prayers for all those who have dedicated themselves to this great task of teaching, and especially to the Chinese people who must now cautiously feel their way through the ideological fog that has settled over their lives. I'm going back to China because I think it's important that I show by my mere presence there that America cares about the Chinese people.
We're interested, frankly, in seeing if we could have some kind of an exchange, both with scholars as well as with students, between China and our seminary.
That there is truth in the world, and the Chinese can have the truth, although it's not easy to get.
And it's going to be a question to see what is going to happen.
They have to be as the Christians in the early church who must maintain their faith in God, that the church will survive.
We are also involved in a number of social welfare projects, health projects, and rural development projects. We're able to serve as a channel for the improvement of much needed social services. The Amity Printing Press is a joint venture with the United Bible Societies.
Bibles are now printed by Chinese people, for Chinese people, through Chinese church channels. And also at prices Chinese Christians can afford. We're shooting for 700,000 Bibles and Testaments next year.
The Presbyterian Church, U.S.A. has made a substantial contribution to the work of the Amity Printing Press through donations that were channeled through the American Bible Society. At 4,000 per day, it's putting Bibles into the hands of Chinese Christians much more quickly than ever before.
When Christians in China received a copy of the Bible in 1980, they were thrilled. They have tears in their eyes. It's tears of joy.
Bibles were burned, ministers were locked up, and yet the church spread. And I think we have to say that that was the grace of God. And then in the late 70s and 80s, as it opened up, we saw a tremendous spread of Christianity. Churches filling up, and seminaries not being able to handle the number of students that were applying. What we're doing now in publishing Bibles is not the building, but we're feeding what is already there, and it's been done, through the grace of God by the Chinese people, and that's the spread of the church.
The New Testament tells us about Christ's entering into glory only after suffering. And that seems to be the experience of the Chinese Christians too.
Chinese Christians have asked that we continue to pray for them. The support which comes from the church in so many ways makes the burden that the Chinese church now carries a little bit easier to bear.
We are all brothers and sisters, and when one of us is in trouble, it's a problem for all of us. We all share the same burden. We are the light of the world for Christ, and we help those who need our help with a loving heart. Even the government officials say that whenever there is a need, they go to the Christian family first and get a response. Bring my greetings and say hello to all the Christians in the States, and God be with you.